In just 9 minutes, uncover 10 explosive takeaways from Jordan B. Peterson's conversation with billionaire Michael Saylor on why billionaires never save in dollars, how inflation silently robs you, and why Bitcoin may be the only way out of a rigged system. Takeaway 1. Why billionaires never save in dollars. Michael Saylor explains why holding cash in US dollars is a trap, especially for people who've worked hard to build wealth. He shares how he realized this during 2020, when central banks began printing money in huge amounts during the COVID crisis. Saylor was sitting on $500 million in cash at his company, MicroStrategy. But instead of feeling secure, he felt like his company was dying slowly. He said, "We're running out of runway." When the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to near zero, he knew that holding on to dollars meant his money would shrink every year, even if it stayed in the bank. For billionaires, the rules are different. They understand that saving in a currency being printed non-stop is like storing food in a place full of rats. No matter how careful you are, it's going to disappear. That's why Saylor moved the company's treasury into Bitcoin. He saw it as a way to protect value from inflation and decay. For example, while a middle-class worker is told to save money, Saylor and others at the top focus on storing energy. And in his view, dollars no longer store anything. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2. Why most currencies slowly die. Michael Saylor gives a hard truth. No currency survives forever. He says the average lifespan of a government-issued currency is just 30 to 40 years. Even the strongest ones, like the US dollar, lose value every year. He calls this a melting ice cube problem. What people call money today, he sees as a temporary tool that constantly loses its power. This is especially true when governments print more of it to solve problems. Over time, that leads to inflation, and inflation destroys savings. For example, if your grandparents saved $10,000 in the 1970s and kept it in cash, today it would buy less than 1/10 of what it could back then. Even if you worked 40 years and saved every month, your reward could still be poverty if the money loses value while sitting in your account. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3. Inflation is worse than you think. Saylor tears apart the idea that inflation is just a small, yearly number like 2 or 3%. He says that's a lie. The way governments measure inflation is twisted. They change the basket of items they track to keep the number low. In real life, the things people actually care about, like homes, education, and food, are going up in price much faster. He calls inflation a hidden tax, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like standing still while the ground beneath your feet moves backward. For example, a house that cost $200,000 15 years ago might now be $600,000. That's not just inflation. That's the silent robbery of your future. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4. The system is built to benefit elites. Saylor and Peterson talk about how, during the pandemic, the economic system showed its true face. Small businesses were forced to shut down, everyday workers were told to stay home, and yet big investors and financial institutions got richer. That's not an accident. The system was designed to push wealth upward. When money is printed, it doesn't go equally to everyone. It flows through the financial pipes controlled by Wall Street. So when the Fed added trillions to the money supply, it boosted asset prices, not wages. Stocks went up, real estate went up, but paychecks didn't. For example, while a restaurant owner in a small town was forced to close permanently, a hedge fund in New York was buying more property. This is how the game is rigged, and most people don't even realize they're playing. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5. Bitcoin fixes the problem of decay. Bitcoin, according to Saylor, is the antidote to a decaying money system. Unlike fiat currencies that can be printed endlessly, Bitcoin has a hard limit. Only 21 million will ever exist. It cannot be inflated, diluted, or easily seized. This makes it what Saylor calls thermodynamically sound money. He says Bitcoin is like digital energy. You put your time and work into earning money. Bitcoin preserves that work across time, while dollars leak value like a hole in a bucket. He believes Bitcoin is more than just an asset. It's a lifeboat for anyone stuck in a sinking economic system. For example, if you lived in a country with hyperinflation, like Venezuela, converting savings into Bitcoin might mean the difference between survival and collapse. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. How to win in a rigged system. Saylor says that once he realized the system was stacked, he stopped trying to beat it through effort alone. Instead of working 80 hours a week building software, he started investing in companies that were already dominating the market, like Apple, Amazon, and Facebook. This made him far more money in less time. He says, don't diversify into losers, just double down on the winners. He made $500 million by making smart bets and holding firm when others panicked. For example, when people told him to sell Apple stock, he bought more. His strategy wasn't just about money, it was about understanding how power works and putting himself on the right side of it. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. From fantasy books to real revolution, Michael Saylor's thinking was shaped by reading science fiction and fantasy novels as a kid. Books by authors like Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke taught him to imagine big futures and fight against broken systems. He saw Bitcoin not just as a currency, but as a kind of digital magic, a new tool for changing the world. These stories helped him see money not just as numbers on a screen, but as a form of energy and truth. For example, he says that just like wizards in books control the world with knowledge and names, those who understand Bitcoin can reshape reality through technology and math. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. Why metaphors matter in technology. Saylor and Peterson explore why metaphors like angels, demons, and magic help people grasp hard ideas. When Saylor calls Bitcoin a monetary virus or digital fire, he's not being poetic. He's trying to make the invisible visible. Most people won't read a long technical book on Bitcoin, but they understand what it means when you say, this is incorruptible money. That makes them curious, and curiosity leads to action. For example, he says social media algorithms that hijack your attention are like demons feeding on your soul, a metaphor that helps people take the threat seriously. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. Bitcoin is built like a spaceship. Saylor describes Bitcoin as a kind of financial spaceship built to survive every attack, every storm, and every crash. It runs on thousands of independent computers around the world. Even if half of them went offline, Bitcoin would still run. This design is called anti-fragile. It gets stronger when tested. That's why Saylor isn't scared of things like government bans or new technology threats. For example, if a natural disaster wiped out internet in one country, the Bitcoin network would continue without skipping a beat because it's distributed across the globe. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10. Natural law is the final truth. Saylor and Peterson end with a deeper point. They agree that there are some rules in life that can't be changed, like gravity or thermodynamics. You can ignore them for a while, but eventually they catch up. Saylor believes Bitcoin follows those natural laws. It isn't controlled by governments or corporations, and that's why it can outlast them. He says fake systems will always collapse in the end. For example, if a country tries to outlaw Bitcoin but keeps printing worthless money, its people will eventually find ways to protect themselves, even if it means using Bitcoin in secret. Here is a brief introduction about Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is the executive chairman and co-founder of MicroStrategy, a publicly traded business intelligence firm. He is widely known for his advocacy of Bitcoin as a superior store of value and has led one of the largest corporate Bitcoin acquisition strategies in history. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.